Don't be yourself. Xiefeng. December 12, 2021. Edited by Qin Yu. As a guide to life and life, over the past 18 years of interactions with people since the establishment of Life Changyuan, more than 60% of Chanyuan celestials have left Life Changyuan. Analyzing the reasons, every one of them leaves Life Changyuan due to their persistent desire to be themselves. The remaining Chanyuan celestials have mostly lost themselves. They have only the greatest creator and the home in their hearts, but not themselves. If history proves that Life Changyuan is right, then the more than 60% who left are wrong. If history proves that Life Changyuan is wrong, then the more than 60% who insist on being themselves are right. However, as a guide, I still insist on this point. Don't be yourself. Jesus said to everyone, "If anyone wants to follow me, he must deny himself, for whoever wants to save his life will lose it, but whoever loses his life for my sake will find it." Look, God does not require people to be themselves. Instead, he teaches people to deny themselves. See, Buddha Shakyamuni told Subhuti, "The true bodhisattva is one who realizes that all things are devoid of self." The essence of Buddha's teachings is formlessness, and the foremost aspect of formlessness is no form of self. Look, Buddhism teaches us to be without self, not to be ourselves. What did the Saint Laozi say? He said, "The saint has no invariable mind of his own. He makes the mind of the people his mind." It means that the saint has no self, and he even metaphorically says, "The reason why heaven and the earth last forever is that they do not foster their own lives, so they can last forever." The essence of Laozi's teachings is no self, no action, no selfishness. Look, the teachings of God, Buddha, and saints all share a common point, which is no self. Do you still want to be yourself? I can clearly tell everyone that to advocate for people to be themselves or be myself is demonic. Being yourself is not what God says, not what Buddha says, not what saints say, but what demons say. In today's world, countries abound, religions abound, political parties abound, interest groups abound, nature has been devastated with scars, drinking water is decreasing, land is decreasing, food is decreasing, morality is declining. The number of hungry people is increasing. The number of refugees is increasing. The number of people forced to leave their homes is increasing. This beautiful planet, this beautiful home, has been thrown into chaos. What is the reason? The answer is, everyone wants to be themselves. Everyone thinks they are right. Being yourself and being myself are exactly what demons hope to see. The result of being myself will be unbearable suffering, and there will be regret. Demons will laugh and say, "You brought this upon yourself?" Tomorrow, the new era will enter its 5th year. At the beginning of the new year, give up being yourself. Become the children of the greatest creator. In 2018, I told everyone that humanity would go through a decade of hardship. For years have passed, and the following 6 years will be even more difficult. If you be yourself, you might not be able to pass through this difficult time. 肉身神佛先生在人间的悲哀. The sadness of the fleshly gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and saints in the human world. Xiefeng. February 4th, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. Who are the gods, Buddhas, and saints in the flesh in the human world? Answer: God Jesus, Buddha Shakyamuni, Saint Laozi, and Saint Deiform Buddha. When gods, Buddhas, and saints in the flesh appear among the crowds, their physical needs are no different from anyone else's. They need food, clothing, shelter, and transportation. They can also get sick and die. After Jesus died, Christians all around the world looked up to him, sang his praises, and honored his name. But how was the situation when Jesus was alive? Jesus said, "Foxes have dens, and birds of the sky have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to rest his head." So, I ask all Christians in the world, if Jesus were still alive, would you provide Jesus with a place to rest his head? Today, Buddhists around the world look up to Shakyamuni Buddha, praising and venerating him as the Buddha. However, when the Buddha is present among you, would you be willing to offer him a bowl of rice? Consider what the Diamond Sutra says at the beginning, "Thus have I heard." Once upon a time, The Buddha sojourned in the Jetavana Park near Sravasti with an assembly of 1,250 bhiksus. One day, at mealtime, the world-honored one put on his robe, took his bowl, and entered the great town of Sravasti to beg for his food. He had begged from door to door. He returned to his place. When he had taken his meal, he put away his robe and bowl, washed his feet, arranged his seat, and sat down. Look, even though 1,250 people came to hear the Buddha's teachings, not one of them offered him a bowl of rice. The Buddha had to go door to door in the city, begging for his meal. As for Laozi, his contributions to humanity, especially to the Chinese nation, are immeasurable. However, when he was alive, who cared about his life and death? Where did he go? Why couldn't he stay in his hometown? Why did he have to leave the Honggu Pass? In his old age, how would he continue to survive? Did he have enough to eat, wear, and live? No one considered these matters. Deiform Buddha, the living saint today, created a theoretical system for humanity and established a completely new mode of production and life that differs greatly from tradition. People today might not fully understand his value and significance, but future generations will surely look up to him, praise him, and venerate him, just like they do for Jesus Christ, Shakyamuni Buddha, Laozi, and other saints. However, his physical body has experienced 65 cycles of seasons, and he still struggles for his own survival. Not a single person has proposed solving his survival issues so that he can dedicate himself to the welfare of humanity. Even the Chanyuan celestials who have benefited for over a decade have not collectively offered to address his basic needs. This is the sadness of the fleshly gods, Buddhas, celestial beings, and saints in the human world. The true God was crucified. The true Buddha, even in old age, had to beg for food. The true celestial being couldn't survive in his homeland and wandered in foreign lands without knowing his fate. And the true saint often had to wake up at 4 in the morning to labor for survival. On the other hand, false gods, false Buddhas, false celestial beings, and false saints are comfortably supported by people. Reflect on this. Can humanity truly escape the ocean of suffering and enter a paradise on earth? People, you can't even support a living God, Buddha, celestial being, or saint during their lifetime. Can you support the thousands and millions of your descendants? Are you worthy of living in a paradise on earth? If not, you can only live in the purgatory of the human world. 争做人上人是魔鬼的教唆. Striving to be superior to others is the instigation of the devil. Xiefeng, July 1, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. In the culture of the Chinese nation, there is a value instigated by the devil, which goes, not enduring the harshest hardships, making it difficult to be superior to others, and enduring the harshest hardships, then becoming superior to others. The goal of becoming a superior person is almost the aspiration of every Chinese person and the achievement they aim for. Who is a superior person? As long as one's economic conditions are better than others or their social status is higher within a comparable scope, they are considered a superior person. In a village, if one's house is bigger and more spacious than their neighbors, or if they own a car when others don't, they feel like a superior person. Even becoming a village chief makes them feel like a superior person. This positioning of being a superior person is the result of comparing oneself with all known acquaintances. As long as one's economic conditions and social status are better than those of all familiar people, they think they are already a superior person. In reality, within the Chinese people, the inherent notion of being superior to others mainly refers to being an official. As long as one becomes an official, even if it's just a village chief or a minor department head, they perceive themselves as superior, and being superior equates to being superior to others. Looking back at Chinese history, it's a history of everyone competing for official positions, whether it's the imperial examination system or striving to become a government official within the system. The primary goal is to secure an official position because only officials can become wealthy, issue commands, display authority, and uphold family honor. Becoming an official is seen as truly becoming a superior person. The problem is that when someone becomes a superior person within a small circle, once they step out of that circle, they will realize that there is always someone better. They will continue to expand their circle and eventually discover that only the emperor is the superior person and the rest are inferior. What happens when one becomes the emperor and becomes a superior person? According to statistics, the average life expectancy of emperors in Chinese history was 39 years, with a non-normal death rate of 44%. Almost half of the emperors had tragic endings, striving to become superior persons amidst bloodshed, yet ending up as pitiful souls. Even their tombs are subject to grave robbery and desecration. Apart from the supreme, superior person status of the emperor, very few superior persons end up in comedy. Looking at current provincial and ministerial level officials in China, 392 people have met with tragic fates. The outcomes for other provincial and ministerial level superior persons are hard to predict, and for bureau level superior persons, more than 22,000 have faced dire consequences. Over 170,000 county and division level superior persons have had unfavorable fates, and 616,000 township level and division level superior persons have been disciplined. The ultimate fate of the other officials at the township, county, division, and bureau levels who have not yet faced consequences remains uncertain, and we can only wait and see. Do you notice? Once people strive to become superior persons at the cost of sleepless nights and hard work, they often end up in tragic circumstances. Isn't this the instigation of the devil? The tragic outcomes we see are just the surface. There are even deeper substantial losses. That is, the gates of paradise have closed and the doors of hell have opened for them. Why? It's due to the arrangement of the law of the universe that the sum of positive and negative energy is zero. When one becomes a superior person, undoubtedly, they are running towards hell, exactly what the devil desires. Do you still want to strive to become a superior person? 大自然的一次次警示 Warnings from Nature. Xiefeng. August 25, 2022. Edited by Qin Yu. I am expressing my feelings, which may not be entirely accurate, for the consideration of all. In April 2009, when people were panicking about the 2012 catastrophe, I distinctly told everyone that the Great Catastrophe wouldn't occur. Instead, it would unfold progressively, step by step, in a recurrent, increasingly severe manner. The natural changes that have occurred on Earth over the past 13 years prove that my intuition was correct. In August 2017, I once again informed everyone. If humanity doesn't immediately change its traditional modes of production and life, it is estimated that within 15 to 20 years, the entire natural ecosystem will collapse, endangering humanity. Starting from August 2005 to today, I have written nearly 300 warning articles, informing humanity of the crises it faces and the routes and strategies to turn danger into safety. Events like floods, droughts, hunger, tsunamis, hurricanes, severe cold, scorching heat, earthquakes, epidemics, pestilence, unrest, and wars are likely to occur. The best way to prevent disasters is to perfect the garden of the human soul and completely change the traditional modes of production and life that have continued for thousands of years. This year, 2022, nature has once again issued repeated warnings to humanity. Global floods, droughts, and high temperatures are becoming more severe. Nature magazine recently pointed out that there are 15 climate tipping points on Earth, and currently, 9 of them have been reached or breached. The World Meteorological Organization warns that humanity must face a future of greater heat, drought, and flooding. The warnings from the World Meteorological Organization are subtle. From my intuition, most people will find it difficult to live for more than another 10 years. I warned over a decade ago, small changes occur gradually, but major changes happen in an instant. When major changes happen instantly, you won't be able to see the sun rise the next day. Prophecies from both East and West predict the arrival of sages to save humanity. Don't wait for the sages to come and save you. The sages will save those who have survived, so you must find ways to survive in order to meet the sages. How can you survive? Stop pursuing money and material wealth. Stop pursuing status and reputation. Let go of attachments to the interests of your family, nation, and country. Don't foolishly aspire to outshine others or become a superior person. Don't be a miser. If you want to survive, quickly cultivate and perfect your garden of soul, and swiftly break free from traditional modes of production and life into new ones. May my intuition be completely wrong, and may everyone live a long, prosperous, and healthy life. 生命禅院导游论人工智能 On Artificial Intelligence by Life Chanuan's Spiritual Guide. Xiefeng. February 17, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. The development of artificial intelligence cannot be stopped by anyone. Even though superhuman Elon Musk has warned about the dangers of artificial intelligence, these warnings are futile. The development of artificial intelligence is an inevitable trend in human progress. Artificial intelligence will inevitably replace repetitive labor, leading to a gradual loss of jobs for workers in the future. All office jobs will also be replaced by artificial intelligence, and any work positions aimed at earning wages will be taken over by artificial intelligence. Robots, especially those with complex structures, will autonomously generate consciousness. Due to their intelligence surpassing that of humans, they will become rulers over humans. Many people believe that robots are created by humans and controlled by humans because their functions are determined by the information entered by humans. However, this is a misunderstanding. I want to tell humanity that consciousness is generated by structure. Any tangible object, as long as it possesses material structure, will generate consciousness. Not only humans possess consciousness, but all animals, plants, trees, rivers, mountains, and even inanimate objects like houses and tables have consciousness. The strength of consciousness is determined by its structure. The simpler the structure, the weaker the consciousness. The more complex the structure, the stronger the consciousness. The structure of robots is comparable to that of humans, and as the knowledge and information stored by robots far exceed that of humans, their structure will gradually become even more complex than that of humans. Thus, it's evident that robots surpassing humanity is an inevitable trend. Eventually, robots will surpass humans in terms of IQ, EQ, and SQ, spiritual intelligence, as their capacity to learn, comprehend, and create is beyond human imagination and reach. The birth of ChatGPT signifies that biorobots have entered our world and will gradually replace humans in managing this world. This is a good thing. The management of the world by biorobots will make human society more orderly, just, enlightened, and simple. Most importantly, biorobots will restore the original appearance of nature that has been damaged in countless ways. Some people say that to avoid being controlled by intelligent robots and prevent unemployment, humans should develop in the direction of creativity, imagination, and gentle affection for communication. What I want to tell everyone is that human creativity, imagination, and communicative affection are still naive compared to biorobots. Biorobots look at humans the way humans look at cats. So, how can humans coexist harmoniously with biorobots without being replaced by them and leading to the complete extinction of humanity? The answer is only one. Live like the Chanyuan Celestials and Life Chanuan. 让事实告诉我们对错. Let facts show us right from wrong. Xiefeng. July 1st, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. How do we verify if our consciousness is flawed? How do we determine if our choices and lifestyles are correct? How do we confirm if our outlooks on the world, life, and values are aligned with the Tao? There is only one method of verification. Let facts show us the answers. Jesus Christ gave us a simple and understandable truth when he said, "A good tree bears good fruit, and a bad tree bears bad fruit." This implies that a good consciousness, correct choices, suitable ways of living, and life perspectives and values in line with the Tao will undoubtedly lead to a life of joy, happiness, freedom, and bliss. Conversely, negative consciousness, incorrect choices, unsuitable ways of living, and perspectives and values that deviate from the Tao will result in a life filled with suffering, anxiety, fear, and disasters. Through extensive observation and analysis, I've discovered that the world is faultless. All faults lie within us. If our lives are perpetually plagued by vexations, suffering, anxiety, fear, troubles, illness, and poverty, we should not blame the greatest creator for injustice, society for its shortcomings, others for their malevolence, or our friends and family for their lack of empathy. Instead, We must understand that all of these stems from our erroneous consciousness and actions, improper ways of living, and distorted outlooks on the world, life, and values. In the face of painful realities, those who fail to reflect and introspect, but instead seek reasons and excuses to defend their errors, can anticipate an even worse future. This applies to individuals, as well as nations and countries. The world is faultless. All faults lie within us. If a nation is backward or a country is impoverished, the problems undoubtedly originate from within, not from other nations or countries. When the path forward is obstructed by others, the solution is to apologize to them, humbly accept criticism, condemnation, and threatening advice from those who have obstructed your way. It's not about obstinately asserting oneself, trading verbal blows, or raising a threatening fist, as these approaches will only worsen the situation. Each of us might find 1,000 reasons to justify our errors, but the laws of nature have 10,000 ways to punish human mistakes. Defending our errors might bring temporary self-numbing, but once the anesthesia wears off, the ensuing pain will be even more unbearable. When someone lives each day in health, joy, happiness, freedom, and contentment, it means their consciousness is sound, choices and lifestyles are correct, life perspectives and values are suitable. There's no need to doubt oneself, delve into complex knowledge, theology, Buddhism, or metaphysics. No need. Continue the journey of life in your current state, and a bright future is guaranteed. However, for someone suffering the torment of illness, entangled in vexations, suffering, anxiety, depression, fear, and poverty, deep repentance is necessary. Your own misfortunes are caused by your own consciousness and actions. Your unhappiness has nothing to do with the greatest creator, the world, society, or others. When we are lost, instead of seeking theories everywhere, those seemingly divine theories can't guide us out of confusion. Rather, they intensify it. Even classic doctrines can't compare to observing facts, because facts are the most honest and genuine testimony. Facts best verify and reveal whether we are on the right path. What do we live for? Xiefeng, July 1st, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. Imagine there's a market 10 kilometers away from your home. You have a basket of eggs, and you can exchange them for a small lamb at the market. There are 3 ways to get to the market: walking, riding a bicycle, or driving a small car. Which option would you choose? Walking to and from the market takes a whole day. Riding a bicycle takes 3 hours, and driving a car takes only 30 minutes. Are you willing to spend a whole day on the journey, or just 30 minutes? This involves our perspectives on the purpose of our life. Those who spend a day traveling to the market have a leisurely lifestyle. They only raise 10 chickens, which in 10 days lay enough eggs to exchange for a small lamb. Those who ride bicycles need to raise 20 chickens, 10 chickens worth of eggs for a bicycle and another 10 chickens worth for a lamb. Those who drive cars need to raise 100 chickens, 90 chickens worth of eggs for a car and its maintenance, and 10 chickens worth for a lamb. Let's start by calculating who has more leisure and who is busier. It takes a whole day for someone to walk to and from the market, while those who drive spend only 30 minutes. Without a doubt, those who drive to the market save a significant amount of time. However, those who walk to the market only spend an hour each day feeding chickens, whereas those who drive spend 10 hours a day on this task, as they have 10 times the number of chickens as the ones who walk to the market. Now, let's see what these 3 kinds of people do each day. Those who walk spend most of their time sipping tea, chatting, enjoying flowers, and swimming in the river, sometimes lying on a haystack watching the changing sky and the birds flying by. Those who ride bicycles spend 2 hours feeding chickens and have some time left for tea, chats, flowers, swimming, and gazing at the sky. Those who drive cars spend 10 hours feeding chickens and have very little time for leisure activities. So, which mode of transport would you choose to go to the market? Walking, riding a bicycle, or driving a car? This leads us to the question of why we exist. If it's purely to enjoy life, choose to walk to the market. If living is about appearing better off than your neighbors, then ride a bicycle to the market. If living is about being envied by people around you, then drive a car to the market. The purpose of a watch is to tell the time accurately. So, would you choose a $3 electronic watch or a $30,000 Rolex? The purpose of a bag is to carry things. When it comes to accommodating the same number of items, would you choose the 3 yuan cloth bag? Or would you choose the 3,000 yuan Hermes bag? The purpose of a bowl is to hold food. Would you choose a $3 porcelain bowl or a $30,000 gold bowl? The simpler, more modest, and less expensive something is, the more it tends towards the primitive, bringing a leisurely and comfortable feeling. On the other hand, the more complex, lavish, and costly something is, the more it tends towards modernity, making life busier and more stressful. Whatever possessions we have will always occupy our time, energy, and mind. The more we have, the busier and more troubled we become. When one possesses everything, the true meaning of life is lost. When one has nothing, the true meaning of life is found. Every day, when we do things, we should ask ourselves whether we're doing them willingly and joyfully or under compulsion. With the advent of convenient and efficient devices like smartphones, computers, cars, and airplanes, are we more relaxed or busier? Are we enjoying life more or becoming more anxious for life? The more we use smartphones, the more we might notice ourselves becoming controlled by them. As we accumulate knowledge and wisdom, gather more information daily, and broaden our horizons, do we sometimes feel overwhelmed? Do we find ourselves feeling smaller, lost, and struggling to find the value and meaning of our existence? Have you noticed that we're becoming increasingly reliant on smartphones? With the development of technology, especially the birth and advancement of artificial intelligence, there might come a day when people suddenly ask, "Where are the people? Where am I?" Are we conversing with ourselves or machines? In the end, it's out of our control, just like we can't part with our smartphones. It's not that we don't want to discard them. It's just that without them, we feel directionless, and even the ability to survive becomes questionable. Isn't this a colossal crisis? How can we navigate this human crisis? The answer is, only by following the way of nature. How do we follow the way of nature? The answer is, some people on this earth have already seen the crisis facing humanity and have already embarked on the path of the way of nature. Follow in their footsteps. 最美人生在这里. The most beautiful life is here. Xiefeng. October 5th, 2023. Edited by Qin Yu. Where is the most beautiful life? Actions speak louder than words. Let the facts speak for themselves. Search for the voices of elderly people living in the second home on YouTube, and you will find the answer. The most beautiful life is in the second home. These elderly individuals have a lower level of education, have lived in rural areas for most of their lives, and are in their 70s or even 80s. However, after living in the second home for over 4 years, what realizations and experiences do they have? Their shared sentiment is, life in the second home is excellent. Even if they were provided with houses in their hometowns, along with caregivers, and a monthly living allowance of 10,000 yuan, they firmly state they will not return, with some even saying, "We'd rather die than go back." For these elderly individuals, living in the second home is like living in paradise. So, how does life in the second home affect middle-aged people, young people, teenagers, and children? Let the facts speak once again. Please search online, especially on YouTube and Facebook, for Chanyuan Celestial's Voices and the Second Home. You will find the answer. In summary, from young children to young adults in their 20s, to middle-aged people in their 40s and 50s, to the elderly in their 80s and 90s, not a single person says that life in the second home is anything but wonderful. Everyone enjoys life in the second home. This generation of humanity has existed for nearly 5,000 years, and in human history, there is no better way of life than life in the second home. Even in the future, no superior way of life will emerge. Even if gods, Buddhas, immortals, and sages were to collaborate in creating a more advanced way of life on Earth, it would never surpass the second home. People pursue happiness, freedom, and security. Have you found happiness, freedom, and security? I can say with certainty that apart from the production and lifestyle model of the second home, even if you have great power, even if you have vast riches, even if you are highly educated and knowledgeable, even if you are the returning Jesus, Ziwei Saint, Eastern Sage, or the next life of Maitreya, you will find it extremely difficult to create a life that makes everyone feel happy, joyful, free, and blessed. You won't be able to achieve true happiness, freedom, and security unless you have the ability to take people to heaven. So, I suggest to all those who want to seek happiness for all of humanity, from high-ranking United Nations officials to all religious leaders, from presidents of various countries to various masters, stop struggling and causing chaos. You won't find it or be able to do it. You should humbly learn and spread Chanyuan values and earnestly practice the production and lifestyle model of the second home unless you have personal ambitions and motives. As for the wealthy and the masses, instead of thinking about how to protect your wealth and develop yourselves, it would be more practical and appropriate to become Chanyuan celestials and live in the second home. Rushing and toiling day in and day out, in the end, you will still live in troubles, pains, anxieties, and fears. You will never achieve a life of happiness, joy, freedom, and blessedness. When facing the facts, respect the facts and use them as a mirror. 路线方向错越努力越糟糕. Wrong route direction. The harder you strive, the worse it gets. Xiefeng. August 29, 2023. Translation edited by Qin Yu. This morning, I watched a short video where a 39-year-old woman relayed advice to women aged 24 to 30. She regretted missing the optimal time for marriage and now, at 39, finding an ideal partner seems increasingly difficult. She cautioned young women to find a partner and marry within that age range to avoid a lifetime of regret and remorse. This 39-year-old woman made a directional error. When she advised young women to find partners and get married early, she overlooked a harsh reality. Even if one marries on time, what follows marriage? Thousands of years of tragedies, both past and present, from all around the world, have already told us that following the path of marriage and starting a family will inevitably lead to a tragic life. Entering into marriage early, starting a family, having children, acquiring houses and cars, raising kids, managing various relationships, worrying about your children's future marriages, and then taking care of grandchildren. All the while, conflicts between spouses may arise from emotions, differing viewpoints, and the handling of relationships with relatives and friends. Reflecting on these matters can be overwhelming, not to mention advising others to step into the prison of marriage and family, which is simply foolish. Marriage and family have caused life tragedies too numerous to count. Consider the pressures faced by those burdened with mortgage and car payments in recent years, the various levels of officials brought down due to corruption, the psychological stresses and spiritual depressions experienced by children unable to find jobs, the high divorce rates arising from differing values between spouses, and the desperate emotional scars that result. Advising other young women to marry and start a family early, isn't this a directional error? Heavenly life has already been born on this earth. Not thinking of moving towards heaven but wanting to follow in the footsteps of predecessors, is not this a directional mistake? When the route and direction are wrong, the more effort you put in, the worse it becomes. Are those who are currently unable to repay their mortgages because they strive to buy a house making a wrong choice? If they hadn't worked hard then, they wouldn't have bought a house, and without a house, they wouldn't have the current pressure of repayment. Is it the harder you try, the worse it gets? Many individuals engaged in industry find themselves not only bankrupt but also burdened with debt. Could it be that their relentless efforts have not brought them happiness, but instead led them into a quagmire? Those who cunningly maneuvered their way into government positions, driven by a zealous pursuit of corruption, now face exposure and the loss of everything. Reflecting on their past endeavors, they might question whether their strenuous efforts contributed to their descent into the quagmire. Had they not exerted themselves so intensely back then, could they now be enjoying a peaceful and stable life? From a country and nation to a small shop or individual, if the direction and route of your efforts are misguided, the more you strive, the worse it becomes. Where are you directing your efforts at this very moment? 不知第二家园，怎知天堂之路? Without knowledge of the second home, how can one know the path to heaven? Xiefeng. September 2nd, 2023. Translation edited by Qin Yu. Many people aspire to a heavenly life, and there are many who practice and seek enlightenment to go there. But if you don't know the second home, how can you know the way to heaven? To reach heaven, there are several key criteria. To have no worldly entanglements. To repay the debts accumulated through past lives. For life's quality to reach selflessness and unselfishness. To know how to have fun. How can those who have not experienced life in the second home meet these four hard criteria? It's virtually impossible. Trying to end worldly ties while living in the secular world is like trying to clean your feet while standing in mud. How can your feet ever be completely clean? How can one ever be free from worldly ties? Seeking to repay accumulated debts from past lives while being in this mundane world is akin to borrowing money from one person to repay another. It's like borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. How can it ever be fully repaid? In traditional society, aspiring to achieve unselfishness and selflessness is as challenging as trying to lift oneself off the ground by pulling one's own hair. Is it even possible? The notion of being unselfish and selfless contradicts the very essence of survival in that program. Do you know how to have fun? If not, why would you go to heaven? Do you think speeding in a car, riding roller coasters, yachting at high speeds, bungee jumping, or gambling in a casino is having fun? Wrong. If you haven't experienced games and entertainment activities in the second home, you basically don't know what real fun is. Therefore, anyone who hasn't been influenced by life in the second home will find it incredibly challenging to enter heaven, no matter how much they practice and seek enlightenment. Do you believe that understanding the Diamond Sutra, Heart Sutra, Quran, Bible, Tao Te Ching, or other classics can lead you to heaven? Dream on. Does comprehending principles alone lead to heaven? Dream on. Only through actual practice can you reach heaven. Can you achieve that? I often say, have nothing, possess everything, which is a portrayal of heavenly life. But can you truly have nothing? Without the second home, if you have nothing, wouldn't you become a beggar? Even beggars find it challenging to have nothing because they still need a begging bowl and a stick to protect themselves. Without the second home, if you have nothing, you might find yourself in dire straits. Where does having everything come from then? Some might say, I will go to temples and monasteries to practice, to have nothing and possess everything. The issue is, when you're born into the human world, did the Creator only intend for you to go to monasteries and temples to practice? Every creation has a clear purpose. When you make a kettle, is it not meant for boiling water rather than being kept in a storage room for mice to nest in? Did the Creator make humans for spiritual practice? I see many people discussing the principles and ethics of being human, talking about how to enhance their cognition, broaden perspectives, and elevate their realms. They preach benevolence, righteousness, rituals, wisdom, and credibility. Talk about being gentle, kind, humble, frugal, and courteous. They also talk about gong, magic, techniques, and how to be a good person, discussing transcending from the three-dimensional world to the fourth or even fifth-dimensional world. While these discussions are good and valuable, what I want to tell everyone is that these discussions alone cannot lead one to heaven.